And I've often found that it's just human nature that if you make somebody else happy, you tend to be happy yourself. Before all of this. And it was simple things like high-fiving my players.
Right.
Being able to high-five them as they walk in, say, hi, how are you doing? How's your day going? And getting to make that eye contact to really create that relationship between the coach and the player and see if that player needs a little bit more time, or if that player's doing great, I could just take another 5-10 seconds of that time and move it to somebody else. We've got some players that have family that are, first responders. So they're going to work every day. They can't come home, see their family. That's tough for them. So those are the players that, I'll reach out to personally just to say, hi, how you doing? Got any questions? What can I do to help you? And part of our agenda yesterday was, if there's anything I can do, let me know.
Right.
And you may not think I can. You may not think it's something that's within the scope of my possibilities or that I can do because we're all in the lockdown, but you never know. It's important to recognize that we can only impact a certain amount of players. So it's up to us to impact the coaches that are going to impact the players. And the more that we can get the coaches to buy into the variation of coaching now, like Chris said, there are certain coaches now that are very transactional, that are finding it difficult to take what they project onto a player and do that online. You can't do that online because the kid could just shut the screen off, or the kid could just mute you. So
or not get on, or choose not to get on.
So it's, nothing we do is mandatory.
Right.
So we tell the kids, if you want to get on, you get on. We've had, got to be honest with you, I think I've only had one kid not come on, and that was because she actually had to work. So I don't know what she does, but the fact that this is a teenager that's still working while we're in a lockdown, that kid, that obviously she needs money, and the family needs money. And, that those are people that we will reach out to and say, hey, is there something we can do to help? What we've done for our coaches is we've created Google Classrooms. Right. So we have Google Classrooms for age groups. So every age group has a Google Classroom. There are 3 teachers in each classroom. The coach classroom, we've put certain things in there with coaching philosophies, how to create a coaching philosophy, why create a coaching philosophy, and how important is it? We give them tools to create one. So simple questions that they can ask themselves, what is my goal? Who am I? Because you've got to know who you are before you can create a philosophy that's going to impact others. Who am I working with? And am I creating a philosophy that is mine, or is it one that I can share? And then we have self-reflection cards. So it's just like a little deck of cards. And Chris and I are working on this many years ago. And it's just a little card at the end of practice. You pull out and you ask the kids, hey, pick a card. And then the kid picks a card. And then as a group, you have to answer that question of, did I impact every kid in this practice? If I feel so. And now you're doing that in front of the players. So as coaches, we're now doing that online. So we're asking our coaches, in your online meeting, did you impact all of the players? Did you include all of the players? Did you share your objective? We have self-development cards that we give to the coaches and the players. So those self-development cards allow them, in very similar to a grow model or a SMART model, allows that coach to look at those certain areas. What are my developmental needs? What are my developmental goals? And what are my action steps? Right. And then they'll come back to me, or the executive director or the director of coaching, and hey, how can we now combine what I know with what you know to get my action steps to become a reality? Every coach, because we have coaches in our club right now that are very, very direct, very autocratic, but they're very successful in how they relate to players, and they get good results. And they don't get the good results because they're demeaning. They get the good results because they're very direct, but they still engage. So the players still have connection. Yeah. So it's sometimes we're very quick to judge those types of coaches, but if we don't see what the influence and impact they're having on the children is, and that's the question that I asked my boss when I first took the job. Yeah, there are coaches that you've got that most would just, I'd say, see you later, but now I've seen them work. They do get the kids to buy in. What question would you have for the experienced coaches?
Right.
And, she asked us, what advice would you give to the less experienced coaches? And I said, listen. And, just the looks on the younger coaches' faces, what do you mean, listen? Listen to your players. Listen to understand. Because if they know you're listening, they're going to trust you. If you're listening to understand as opposed to listening to respond, you're going to know what they need. You're going to know what they like, what they dislike. And then you're going to know how to provide it for them. So I tell all coaches, regardless of what type of coach you are, if you can spend that time listening to your players, you're going to actually be a better coach for it. One of the things we try to do, or I try to do specifically, is include the parents as much as you can, and simple things where I use an app called TESS, T-E-S, it's Total Evaluation Systems. A guy called Simon Island from England came up with this app. It's so easy to use. At the end of each game, I can just evaluate the player. I can give them, it's not really evaluate, it's giving them feedback. So you can, the only thing that I'm not too fond of is that it's a numbering system. So I rank them, 6.5 out of 10 for this, 6.5 out of 10 for that. But it's double blind. So the player gets to evaluate themselves.
Right. Yeah.
And we don't see each other's evaluation until both are complete. The player has to then write a little piece at the bottom about what they felt. And then I write a little piece about what I felt. The parents get to see that every single week.
Okay.
So there's less need for me to engage with the parents at the end of a season because I'm doing it throughout the season. And it's so simple. 18 players I can do now in 15 minutes. I'm very sensitive to other people's, needs, what their thoughts may be, the situations they're in. I'm very empathetic. And, when she's talking about that, I said, listen, we're still in a time where we need to laugh. We need to smile. And that needs to be a human value that we share every day. We need to smile more. We need to laugh often, because it's important for us that if we don't do that, we're going to become stressed out. Our stress will then become anxiety. Our anxiety will then be anger. I said, and so let me get back to your first question. If there's something I could ask myself, what would it be? I would say, how am I feeling right now? I'm angry, but I can't control it. I can't control the situation that I'm in now that makes me angry. So I've got to look for those positives and say, well, okay, now I've got that little bit more time with my wife. I've got a little bit more time with my dog to work on his training. Just little things like that. I said, but what is it now that we appreciate more than we did yesterday? And I said something simple as going outside and feeling the sun on my face. I said, so I've got to a point now where I can go out, feel the sun on my face. I said, and for the first time in years, I took my shoes and socks off and dragged my toes through the grass. And where I coach in New Jersey, it's state law that you have to have your practice plan with you. So you must have a copy of your practice plan with you. And of course, I left mine in the car. So it was great just to be able to go on my phone, go to Coach Better, and then pull up a couple of very similar to what I'd already planned. There they were. I just put them in. So as long as I've got it, and there it is on my phone, so I've created it into the PDF. There it is. And so if anybody ever comes, but it was great to be able to just go in there quickly, just link the 3 sessions together that I was doing, or the 3 activities. And there it was. And then I put a little spin on it of my own, and the kids loved it. The kids thought it was fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, guys, take care.